have found the Genesis frequency. This is Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina welcoming you in to another episode of a show that focuses on your whole life prosperity and success. Whole life prosperity and success by cooperating with the universal laws that are available to each and every one of us. This is Quantum Leap Goal Achievement, radical personal transformation, whole life prosperity and success. Now, stay tuned for another exciting episode that'll move the needle in your life from where you are now to where you want to be.
And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it may be, wherever you are in the world. When you hit that play button, so glad you did. You are listening to the Genesis Frequency podcast, now in its sixth year. Thank you so much for listening, whether it's your first time, your 10th time, your 100th time, your 200th time, whatever it is. I appreciate each and every listener. This is Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina, coming at you on this day, sharing, some thoughts around the new beginning that we all tend to look to when we start a new calendar year. And if you would look back at so many of the episodes I did to wrap up the previous year, I gave you a lot of prep work. I gave you a lot of food for thought to really hit the ground running, to do some exercises, to do some planning, to do some visioning and visualization about what this next year would look like. And the last episode was really an invitation and a reminder. Hey, if you haven't done anything, now is the time. Let's do this thing. In fact, I love the write up I did for last week's episode. And let me share that with you because a lot of people, just like when you go to the gym or the fitness center at the beginning of the year, it's usually a little more crowded, right? Because everybody makes that resolution. Yeah, this is the year I'm going to do it. So it's a little more crowded. Well, the same thing with podcasts and personal development and professional development and leadership development, which is what this show is all about. I have a lot of new people that come in for the very first time and say, "Hey, what is this?" I love personal development. I love professional development. We want to bring some leadership development into our company. What's this all about? So listen to the write up from last week's show and just take this for what it's worth as an invitation because we're going to carry on today really where we left off, especially if you're one of those individuals that maybe you're a little bit stuck and you need some answers. You need to know where to go to find really what you're looking for when it comes to what you want to create in your life, personally, professionally, and career vocation and all of that. So last week I said right in front of your eyes is an opportunity to begin again. You can make a fresh start right here and right now. Of course, you can do this anytime, right? I acknowledge and recognize and appreciate that there are people finding this podcast at different times throughout the whole year. It comes out every Thursday morning at 2 o'clock in the morning, 2 a.m. Central Time, and it's always here. It's like a rock, it's a foundation, it's a non negotiable in my life. It's just done. So you can really start any time, but we're just using the beginning of a new year to really take a deeper dive into all this. So any day of the year you can do this. But there is a magical energy that wraps itself around the beginning of a new year. I invited you to seize this opportunity that is right before you. Commit right now to living an extraordinary life where you make all your personal and professional goals come alive. Absolutely refuse to allow another year to go by and find yourself standing in the same place you are now, having experienced no growth or the realization of your most outrageous dreams. Dedicate yourself to learning effective personal productivity and personal leadership skills. immerse yourself in my radical personal and professional transformation programs that show you how to apprehend the laws of infinite potential so that you begin to experience quantum leaps when it comes to your own personal and professional goal achievement. Live life on purpose. Hold the vision of the life you would love to live that includes everything you are passionate about. Begin right now to crystallize your thinking by listening to last week's episode at this point and beginning your own exciting journey at once. I love that write up because everything I do just comes from pure inspirational download, right? I don't, even these shows, I don't have like a bunch of podcasters, a lot of research, and a bunch of notes to draw from. It's just some quiet time, some time in the silence, entering into that silence, breathing, closing my outer eyes, shutting out the world, and just looking inwardly to find that wisdom, inspiration, and guidance for what's next. And that's where we are today. So that was your invitation. That's what last week's episode was all about. So if you're someone that didn't take hold of all the episodes I did the last quarter and beyond of last year and started with those exercises. If you didn't do all that, you can go back and listen anytime. And there's some great material and content in there for you to do some prep work. Start right now. Listen to last week's episode so you get excited. That was, this isn't a show about motivational and rah, rah, rah. There's some elements in here from time to time because I'm passionate about what I'm doing and I get excited about it. And hopefully some of that enthusiasm rubs off on you as a source of motivation. But listen into it. Listen into it. Seize this opportunity because I guarantee you, and I know this to be true because I talk to people all the time where this is true, that if you don't do something, if you don't make a choice to live your dream life now, personally, professionally, in your career, whatever it may be, you will be 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, 12 months down the road telling the same old story again. You'll be in the same spot, having the same experiences, maybe different names, maybe different faces, maybe the same kind of problems show up in a different way, but they're happening over and over and over and over again. Well, why is that? It's because we are creatures of habit. We are governed and ruled by our own paradigms, which is in reality our own internal programming, because we are creatures of habits. Paradigms are a multitude of habits that have almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior. And you know what? Almost all of our behavior is habitual. So that's why they'll get excited. And that's why just motivation doesn't work. There's a certain way to do things. There's a certain way to study. There's a certain way to read. There's a certain way to listen. There's a certain way to be in order to do and have. And so many people just don't take the time to learn the certain way, to do it, to do things in a certain way. And there's a certain way when it comes to the realization of your dreams, of the goals that you would like to accomplish and achieve in your life. So we get to the end of the year and people start thinking, I didn't do anything. I was so excited at the beginning of the year and I didn't sit down or maybe you did sit down. Maybe you did make a list. Maybe you did write out your goals. Most people don't do that. And sometimes they make a list of goals, write their goals down, but it's not long before the habitual behavior takes over. It's just the way we're wired. You don't beat yourself up over this. You say, "Okay, how do I get a handle on this habitual behavior so I can install some new programming?" Well, one way is to listen to this show on a regular basis. Make that a habit. Don't, make sure that you set something up in your planning system and schedule time every week to listen to this podcast, maybe some other personal and professional development podcasts, so you continue to nurture yourself. You have to immerse yourself in personal and professional development if you want to improve your situation and circumstances and what's showing up in your life. So, if you would start with last week's episode, the New Beginning Fresh Start episode, it's out there, episode 281. Go to the website, thegenesisfrequency.com or stephenjkosmina.com, and or you can find the podcast on any platform that does podcast. It's out there. So listen to that, all right? And commit. Make a commitment. The power is in the commitment. The power is in your choice to do something and do something now. To make a choice, say, yeah, this is it. You're absolutely right. I'm going to do something now because this has been going on far too long. I say, yeah, I want something different. Yeah, this is not what I want. Yeah, here I am again. A year's gone by and I'm in the same place. And maybe I'm worse off. So many people are. I hear it all the time. So make a choice. The choice in and of itself is so very, very powerful. So, what is next for today? I talk to a lot of people that are just stuck, and if that's you, reach out and let's have a conversation about that. Make an appointment with me, successappointment.com, all one word, successappointment.com. We'll hop on a Zoom call and we will just discuss where you're at and where you might be stuck. But let's move on right here. If we're stuck and maybe we don't really know what we want, or maybe there's so many things out there that we want. Where do we what where do we go? What do we do next? Maybe we made a list of 100 things we want, because I always encourage everybody, make a list of everything you want to experience. Then step away from it for a day or two, then go back to it. Read over your list and then notice the subtle little changes, or maybe they're profound changes in your physicality. Maybe you start getting goosebumps. Maybe you're reading down your list and you come to one thing that you wrote down, and your hair stands up a little bit. You get excited. You get a little bit scared too, because you know we want to go after those big dream goals that excite us and scare us at the same time. But what if you just, it's about choice. You've been listening long enough. You know it's about choice. You know it's about your choice. You're accepting personal responsibility for what's showing up in your life. Where do you go next? Because I always talk about you don't have to know how. I always talk about, hey, you want that big dream goal, that thing that's so outrageous, you have no idea how it can possibly come true in your life. Where do you go next? Because we do have to take a step. We do have to participate. We can't just sit in the easy chair and wait for this thing to show up at our front door, right? So we have to do something. We have to participate. So if you haven't identified it, or maybe you have identified it, where where do you go next? Where do you really go next? And I really suggest, and what this particular message is about today, is to go within and go to that access point. Go to that access point that's talked about in Think and Grow Rich, that access point where we can tap into infinite intelligence. You go within. You're not going to find your answer in, in on social media or in somebody else's opinion or what the rest of the world is doing. Oh, believe me, I see this all the time by, you know, don't get me going. That's a whole nother story, an episode all in and of itself. But just go within to this. What we want to do is you want to go within to this access point. All right. And that's what I referred to earlier in this episode, that I just get quiet and I go within and I access, because what am I looking for at this access point? Well, first of all, we talk about, hey, we are a product. We are made of energy. This universe is all energy. We live in a cause and effect universe, which is made of energy. So we are made of energy. We are of the universe, but we are of a universe that is conscious. We are of mind, one presence, one power is all. So if you would just think from that expanded place, and know that in the quietness, in the tranquility, and the serenity within that you find only within by closing your outer eyes, shutting the door. It may sound like familiar instructions, but we close the door to the outer world. We shut everything else out and we get quiet. And what I'm asking you to do to go a little bit deeper is to really seek in this place wisdom, inspiration, and guidance. Because it's already all in there. You are not asking for new wisdom or inspiration or guidance. It's already there. What you are really seeking is to open your mind and heart and your energy to wisdom, inspiration, and guidance. Now, there's a book out there, and so many people listening to this show are well read and they read everything they can get their hands on. This book, according to Guinness and other studies out there, as of 2023, is considered the best selling book of all time. And it is estimated that 7 billion, 7 billion with a B have been sold and distributed. Distributed. And within that book, we find a lot of instruction. We find a lot of law. And this is not out here to debate it, but you can't really argue with 7 billion copies sold, and you can't really argue with one of the greatest teachers, a master teacher that ever lived, who instructed the same thing that I'm telling you to do here today, to go within to find your answers. Don't go to social media. Don't go to friends and family. Don't go to newspapers and magazines and the TV news channel to find your answers or what you want. Go within. The greatest teacher said, ask, 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 and it will be given to you. He said, search, and you will find. Knock, and the door will be opened for you. For everyone, not just some of you, for everyone who asks will receive, and everyone who searches will find. And for everyone who knocks, the door will be opened. Now, this this gentleman was full of wisdom, this master teacher, this way shower. And I'm telling you the same thing. To knock on that door, to close your outer eyes to the world and knock on that door. What is it you are searching for and seeking? Well, everything is contained within wisdom, inspiration, and guidance. I am suggesting that for you because you will find it in that font of wisdom, that fountain of wisdom that you find within that connecting point, that doorway that is the doorway to the infinite intelligence that I spoke of earlier when I referred to Napoleon Hill and Think and Grow Rich. We're accessing a doorway into our subconscious mind where information can flow back and forth that's been stored for eons and everything that we've taken in our lifetime. We're accessing that energy that is all, the universe, source, creation, creator, whatever you want to call it. We're accessing that infinite. It's ineffable. We really can't describe it. We're accessing that wisdom. We're tapping into it. And if we would look to the words of this master teacher and way shower, it says everyone who goes in there and knocks on that door, everyone that seeks will find, everyone will be given an answer. The door will be opened for everyone, not just a few people. This is all inclusive, right? So do this. You want to go in here, you want to seek wisdom, you want to be inspired. What's inspired? Well, just look at the word inspiration. You want to live, you want to find answers from your own indwelling spirit, right? You want the spirit, the energy of life and living to live you, to live through you, to play through you. And in this inner inner spirit, the word inspiration, right? It's made up of in, inner spirit, your inner spirit. This connecting point is what I'm talking about. You want to draw out of there the guidance for what's next. So you're going to find the wisdom if you say, I want this big dream goal. I want this outrageous goal. I really, really want this, but I don't know how. You don't have to, on the level of your ego and personality, and maybe even from what you might consider your limited human perspective, but you can tap into this source of wisdom, infinite wisdom. You can say, yes, here it is. When you're in that secret place, you'll know this is my place. Yeah, I found it. This is my source of inspiration. I'm going to draw everything from here. Because if you get it in that place, it's going to guide you right. It's going to guide you all right. And that's where we draw. That's where, we're doing this anyway, because, when we're using the mental faculty or the spiritual faculty of intuition that's saying, hey, go this way, zig, don't zag. That's all this. That's that inner fountain of wisdom. This is that place where we find that inspiration. This is from that connecting point to infinite intelligence. And from that place, we receive the guidance. All yours is to do is to be open to all this. To say, okay, I'm here, I am, I'm ready, and I am committed to this goal, to this dream, to what's next. I am committed to this. What's next? Show me the step, guide me. I am seeking that guidance right here and right now. And then you just let it go. Relax. You're in that place, just open to receive that guidance. And you know what? It'll show up. It will show up. It will show up. And then you do what you're inspired to do, what came from that fountain of wisdom. You take that step. Again, according to Martin Luther King, you don't have to see the whole staircase. You just have to take the step. But here's where you get the instruction. And so many people miss this point. They make their list. Okay, I got to figure this out. What do I do? How do I get from here at point A to point B? Yeah, you have to take action. But what's next is going to come from that place where you connect with infinite intelligence and you seek wisdom, inspiration, and guidance. We'll continue right here. We're out of time for today. But I'm telling you, this is the way to do this thing. It has worked for me in my life over and over and over again. And when I started on this path, this positive path for living, I tell you what, I was in a dark place, a real dark place, right? I was right up to death's door rather than this inner door that we're talking about. So follow these instructions and we're going to help you move from where you are to where you want to be. Hey, if you want to do this, you want to go deeper, you want to come in and do some leadership training, some goal achievement training, some personal productivity and performance training, some priority management training in your company, in your corporation, hey, reach out to me. We can get you set up in a showcase program where you go through some of the material I have and you make an evaluation. Hey, is there going to be a return on my investment? Because there will be, and I guarantee it. But if you just want to work on stuff for you personally, professionally, or you do want to make an impact in the corporate culture and on your corporate team, whatever it is, all of the above, reach out. Let's have a conversation. And maybe I come out to your place of business and do a talk about any of these topics I talk about on my show. Maybe we get you set up in a custom tailored plan program that brings this awareness and these teachings into your place of business, or maybe we work one-on-one or in a small group, whatever it is. Let's have a conversation about where you are, what you want, and why you might be stuck. You do that by going to my calendar, successappointment.com. Let's talk. Let's start there. Make a decision, make a choice that this is going to be your best year ever. You've been listening to the Genesis Frequency, and this is Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kosmina, wishing you an infinitely spectacular day. God bless you.